Hello everybody, it's Vaultboyhunter here, Sam, doing another set review show. Today we are going to be doing a few different sets, and the big reason why is because the next set chronologically is Revised, and Revised was a reprint set entirely, no new cards or anything. It's basically the fixed unlimited, and because it doesn't introduce any new cards or um, anything at all, really. We're going to talk a little bit about Revised, but we're not going to go through all of the cards. And then, so as soon as we're done kind of going a little bit of Revised, we'll switch over to Legends. So you're going to get two shows, or two sets in one show, but one of them is going to be super light. So Revised, basically it's just the continuation of Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited. It's kind of the fixed version, though. They removed a lot of problem cards, and I kind of have a list of the cards that were removed and added. It was released in April of '94. It's the third edition of core sets, or Revised. Let me see. No, it doesn't have an expansion symbol. Available from mid-April of '94 through mid-April of '95. Oh, here, one moment. Brennan is emailing me. Okay, we're doing some odds and ends to make the videos look a little bit better. So wanted to get back to him really quick. Okay, so first set with a gift box. The rule book and the starter had the Shivan Dragon on it. So that's interesting stuff. Introduced the first tap symbol, which is a slightly tilted T inside of a gray circle. Mono and poly artifacts became obsolete. They just added tap symbols to the poly artifacts, showing that they had to tap. Let's see, Summer Magic was a thing. When it was first produced, there was a set, basically, that Wizards thought the print run was unacceptable on, so they did a second print run in the summer of 1994 called, it's become called Summer Magic, and they were not, it didn't actually see play. It was very horrible. Basically, the reprint, it was worse. Like Plateau didn't have its artist name on it. Hurricane was printed with a blue border, and it got a small amount of it got released though, in Tennessee, Texas, and Ireland, kind of odd places. But apparently it's super expensive. Like a Birds of Paradise is over $1,000. So kind of just oddball stuff. Okay, so to finish up our revised talk, go over cards that were removed and then cards that were added. So, cards that were removed from Unlimited: Ancestral Recall, Berserk, Black Lotus, Blaze of Glory, Camouflage, Chaos Orb, Consecrate Land, Copper Tablet, Cyclopean Tomb, Dwarven Demolition Team, False Orders, Force Field, Gauntlet of Might, Ice Storm, Icy Manipulator, Illusionary Mask, Invisibility, Ironclaw Orcs, Jade Statue, Lich, Mox, all the Moxes, of course, Natural Selection, Psionic Blast, Raging River, Sinkhole, Time Vault, Time Walk, Time Twister, Twiddle, Two-Headed Giant of Furious, and Word of Command were all removed. Island was removed from the rare printing sheet. Armageddon Clock was dropped. It was a rare in Antiquities, basically, but it was made a rare. Antiquities only had Uncommon 1 and Uncommon 2. Crumble was raised to an Uncommon. Dragon Engine was made a rare. Eye for an Eye was made a rare. Flying Carpet was made a rare. Every Tower is made a rare. Magnetic Mountain was made a rare. Millstone was a rare. Onulet was a rare. Ornithopter was an uncommon. Primal Clay was a rare. Reverse Polarity was made an uncommon. Rocket Launcher was a rare. Shatterstorm was an uncommon. Sorcerer's Queen was a rare. And Titania song was a rare. A lot of those were quote unquote rares previous. They were just in sets with only commons and uncommons. So they were at the uncommon, they were at the rare and common level basically. Um, and then cards that were added, and these were added from Antiquities and Arabian Nights, basically. So it's a lot of the same cards that we've talked about: Aladdin's Lamp, Aladdin's Ring, Armageddon Clock, Atog, Bottle of Suleiman, Brassman, Crumble, Dancing Scimitar, Desert Twister, Dragon Engine, Dwarven Weaponsmith, Ebony Horse, El Hajijah, Energy Flex, Erg Raiders, Eye for an Eye, Flying Carpet, Hercules Recall, Island Fish, Jasconius, Ivory Tower, Jandor's Ring, Jandor's Saddlebag, Curdape, Magnetic Mountain, Magijin, Millstone, Mishra's War Machine, Amulet, Ornithopter, Primal Clay, Reconstruction, Reverse Polarity, Rocket Launcher, Serendip Freak, Shatterstorm, Sorceress Queen, The Rack, Titania's Song, and Unstable Mutation. They were all added into Revised. So 39 cards were added into Revised, 35 cards were removed. But that's basically it. I mean, Revised is kind of like a pretty milquetoast set. This removing the Power 9. Okay. This removing the Power 9 made the set a lot lower. This is the earliest set as far as core sets that I personally ever bought. And the reason I bought it, and I bought it for $5 a pack. And it's because you could actually still pull dual lands from it. And for $5, basically, you had to get a return on investment, because at that point they were selling for like 15. So, but that's it for Revised. I'm not going to really go over too much more of it. I'm already bored talking about it, just simply because it doesn't add anything new to the table at all. So, Legends. Here, one moment. Let me see. Okay, so Legends. Legends was released in June of 1994. Its themes and mechanics were legendary permanents, world enchantments, multicolored cards, poison counters are the big one, are all of them. Bands with Others and Rampage were the two keywords. It was developed by Steve Conrad and Robin Herbert, designed by those two guys, developed by Scott Elias, Jim Lynn, Chris Page, and Dave Petty. Most of the guys, they were early Magic producers or designers and developers. So, third expansion, first to contain multicolor cards. It's not considered to be a standalone block. It doesn't include basic lands. It is gigantic. It's 310 cards. So if I hit any reprints, and I don't really know if there are very many, I'll probably kind of just say reprint from earlier and keep on going. Let's see. It fell victim to the horrible coalition of cards from early Magic, where there were basically uncommon runs that you could end up with the whole box of basically undesirable commons. So there's A boxes and B boxes, and so if you ended up with the B boxes, you were ending up with the undesirable cards, and then if you ended up with the A run, you were pretty good. You had a lot of expensive stuff. It was available for about a year. No, wait. Cards were available from June of 94 through late June of 94. So it was pretty small. 35 million cards. It was the oldest expansion that was released in the Italian language, but the Dark, which is the next set chronologically, was actually released before Legends in Italy. I actually had got a few packs of Italian Legends, and I pulled an Italian Abyss, which was pretty fun. Traded it for a bunch of stuff, if I remember correctly, because it was in demand. Other stuff. This was another set where a lot of the names came from Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. So annoying. So this had Legends, Legendary Lands, multicolor cards. This is the first set with gold cards. Bands with Others, Poison Counters, Rampage. We'll talk about Rampage when we hit the first Rampage card and then never speak of it again. Let's see if there are any interesting cycles. The Elder Dragons, Glyphs, Anti-Land Walk Junk, the Legendary Lands, the Mana Batteries. Apparently, all of the 55 legendary creatures and legends are arranged in a complex system of family trees with one Elder Dragon on top, followed by 3 rare legends that share the dragon's colors, 2 set of 3 rare legends for the 2 allied colored pairs in the dragon's cost, and 2 sets of 4 uncommon legends. So basically, everybody was related to the Elder Dragons. So Arcades Sabaoth had 2 basically Bant legends, Rabinia Soulsinger Ragnar and Agnes Mackenzie, and then 2 Celestia legends, Lady Calorie, 3 Ki Takanashi and Gabriel Angelfire, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 green white uncommon legends, 3 white blue rare legend. So basically it's like a huge thing. The thing about it is like almost all of those cards are virtually worthless in modern Magic, and that's just sad. Notable cards: Chain Lightning, Chains of Mephistopheles, Eureka, Land Tax is Dreamy, Mana Drain, Mirror Universe, Moat, Nether Void, Reset, The Abyss, Tabernacle at Pendron Bell, which is an amazing card, and Underworld Dreams. Another thing to talk about, this was basically legends were restricted, so you can only have 1 copy of each legend in your deck, because they thought it was more flavorful that way. But thankfully that ended, I think, pretty much immediately. It ended in, let's see, Ice Age, because they realized that playing a singleton of a legend didn't really bring anything extra to the flavor of the sets. And of course, the Kamigawa block legend role changed things quite a bit, and the more recent legend role did as well. Rampage is a junk mechanic. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that's super interesting out of the trivia that I have. Not really. Signovia Leviathan. The quotation in the flavor text is from Job 4 book, or Job 41:1, not Job 40:25. Although it is Job 40:25 in the original Hebrew, this error is corrected in 5th edition. Revelation had the wrong Bible quote as well. Infinite Authority, the word creature is misspelled creature in the 5th line of the ability text. It was spelled Creature. So not anything super exciting. Alright, so let's get into the set. It is a pretty big set. I've been talking for 13 minutes already, so that's pretty good. So let's get started. For anything, again, anything too texty or anything that just doesn't make sense, I'll pop into the card and read the oracle text. But for most of the cards, I'm going to try to read what's on screen. So, a Crowan Legionnaire, 6 and 2 white. None of your non-artifact creatures may attack except for a Crowan Legionnaire. That would be pretty good. He's an 8/4 for 8 mana. Yeah, not great, but back then that was probably a creature you would never play because you're just playing Ancestral Recalls instead. Alabaster Potion is X and 2 white. Target player gains X life or prevent X damage from any one creature or player. It is an instant. Already, just being a year or so later after the first few sets came out, the wording is so much tighter, but there are still going to be some really confusing cards. Aroma Kithkin, the first Kithkin. I think in the entire game it's 1/1 for 2 white, so white, sorry. And creatures with power greater than 2 may not be assigned to block Kithkin. Blocker's power may be increased after blocking has been assigned. Of course, you can pump it after you declared your block. Oh yeah. Okay. Next up is Angelic Voices, 2 and 2 white. As long as the only creatures you control are white or artifact creatures, all your creatures gain +1/+1. So definitely a little like artifacty sub-theme going on. Next up is Cleanse, 2 white and 2 colorless and 2 white. All black creatures and player are destroyed, so sparing your white stuff. That's not bad. Clergy of the Holy Nimbus. You'll see my little box here of stuff. I forgot to bring up my Pirate Cube document. So let's get that brought up. Not that I'm gonna probably do too much. Yay, Vault Boy. Okay. Next up, Clergy of the Holy Nimbus. A 1/1 for 1 white mana. When clergy are destroyed or take lethal damage, unless an opponent pays 1, clergy are regenerated. That doesn't seem very effective. Next up is Devante Archer. It is a 1/2 for 2 and a white. Tap. Archer does 1 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. They call that range strike. I think it's even called range strike at this point. Next up, Divine Intervention, an enchantment for 6 and 2 white. Put 2 counters on this card. Remove a counter during your upkeep. When you remove the last counter from Divine Intervention, the game is over and considered a draw. Oh, man. That and Vampire Hexmage, that would be horrible. Okay, next up, Divine Intervention. Instant, white, and 1 colorless. To destroy target artifact, you gain life points equal to the casting cost of the artifact. Not bad. Not great, not bad. Divine Transformation, 2 white and 2 colorless. Target creature gains +3/+3. Needs +3/+3 in flying. Does not get +3/+3 in flying. Here, one moment. Okay, so Gatherer stopped working, so we are back now. Okay, so next up is Elder Landworm. So for 4 and 3 white, it's a creature. It's a dragon worm. It's Defender and Trampler. And Trample. When Elder Landworm blocks, it loses Defender. Worm cannot attack until it has been assigned as a blocker. Oh, okay, so you block with it once and then it becomes able to be attacked, and it's a 5/5. That's just horrible. Okay, next up, Enchant a Being. For 1 white, or 2 white and 1 colorless. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Enchanted Being by enchanted creature. Any damage dealt to Enchanted Being during combat by creatures with 1 or more enchantment cards played on them is reduced to 0. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Enchanted Being by enchanted creatures. Oh, it's a creature. I thought it was an enchantment. Okay, so it's a 2/2. Okay. I didn't put that together. I'm sorry, guys. It's very late. This is when my house is the most quiet, so I have to record when I can. I have to speak in my NPR voice. Thank you for listening to NPR. Okay. Equinox is an enchant land for 1 white. Enchanted land has tap. Counter target spell if it would destroy a land you control. Or you can just stop playing Stone Rain Wizards and not have to waste slots for that. Next up is Fortified Area, an enchantment. Colorless and 2 whites. All creatures you control have +1 and +0 and have banding. Card pass. Glyph of Life. This is part of a cycle called the Glyph Cycle. I believe it's 1 for each color. And they all affect walls, so making them all virtually worthless. Glyph of Life is 1 white, and it's an instant, and choose target wall creature. Whenever that creature is dealt damage by an attacking creature this turn, you gain that much life. So, that's worthless. Why play walls? Unless it's Wall of Blossoms. You shouldn't be playing it. Okay. Great Defender, 1 white, instant. Target creature gets +0 plus X until the end of turn, where X is the creature's casting cost. Moving on, Great Wall. 2 colorless and a white. Creatures with Planeswalk may be blocked as if they did not have this ability. At this point, there is like one creature with Planeswalk, but that's a cycle, Landwalk screw cycle of posers in Legends. So, next up, Greater Realm of Preservation. Click into that because that looks like it's a mess. Oh, come on, Gatherer. Okay, one moment. Okay, so Greater Realm of Preservation. It is an enchantment for a colorless and a white. The next time a black or red source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. So it's cop red and cop black crammed together for one more mana, a colored mana as well, making it not splashable. So kind of just making it not playable. Next up is Heaven's Gate, and an instant for 1 white. Any number of target creatures become white until end of turn. Definitely not playable. Holy Day, 1 white for an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. So good and like playable in the Turbo Fog Pauper decks, but because they're banned, but there's better options now. Next up, Indestructible Aura. 1 white for an instant. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. That art is very weird. It's like a guy with a bird head, given the metal sign. Okay. Next up, Infinite Authority. 3 white for an enchantment aura. Whenever enchanted creature blocks or becomes blocked by a creature with toughness 3 or less, destroy the other creature at the end of combat. At the beginning of the next end step, if that creature was destroyed this way, put a 1/1 counter on the first creature. So, really clunky way to get a counter. White has better ways of getting counters now. Literally any other way to get a counter, when you stop and think about it, is going to be more effective. And next up, Ivory Guardian. It is a 3/3. One moment. Okay, Gatherer's getting on my last nerve. I'm going to punch him in the face. Okay, Ivory Guardians. 4 colorless, 2 white. Creature, Giant Cleric, protection from red. Creatures named Ivory Guardians get +1/+1 as long as an opponent controls a non-token red permanent. So at best it's going to be a 6/6 if you have the other 4 in play. That just doesn't feel good at all. Next up, Keepers of the Faith. This is a vanilla creature. 2 white and a colorless for a 2/3 with flavor text. Hard pass, folks. Hard pass. Next up is Kismet. 3 colorless and a white. It's an enchantment. All creatures, lands, and artifacts played by an opponent come into play tapped. There's cheaper versions of that now. Next up is Land Tax. Land Tax is a great card. It would be included into a powered cube. Land Tax is a white. During upkeep, if your opponent controls more land than you, you may search your library and remove up to 3 basic land cards and put them into your hand. Reshuffle your library afterwards. So definitely a good way to gain some card advantage. I love Land Tax. Next up, Lifeblood. Poser card. 2 colorless and 2 white. Whenever a mountain an opponent controls becomes tapped, you gain 1 life. Not that effective because it doesn't actually win you the game or anything. So. Next up is Moat. Non-flying creatures without flying can attack. It's 2 colorless and 2 white. Moat would go into a powered cube. That effect is just too darn powerful. Okay. Next is Ozai Vultures. It is a white and a colorless for a 1/1 flying creature. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a carrying counter on Ozai Vultures. Remove 2 carrying counters from Ozai Vultures. Ozai Vultures gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Or put Ozai Vultures in box and closet. Forget Ozai Vultures exists. Next up is Petra Sphinx. It is 2 colorless and 3 white for a 3/4. Does not fly. It's got big wings, but it does not fly. Tap. Target player names a card, then reveals the top card of his or her library. If that card is the name card, that player puts it into his or her hand. If it isn't, the player puts it into his or her graveyard. Don't play that. Come on, guys. Just don't play that. Like, it's not even a legend. Like, if that was a legend, that could be your commander if you want to suck at commander. Okay, next up, Presence of the Master. It's got Mark Twain on it. So it's some of my favorite art. Phil Fogiel, just an amazing artist. Okay, so it's an enchantment, 3 colorless and a white. Enchantment. Whenever a player casts an enchantment spell, counter it. So the last enchantment ever played. Okay. Next up, Rapid Fire. It's an instant, 3 colorless and a white. Cast Rapid Fire only before blockers are declared. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn. If it doesn't have Rampage, that creature gains Rampage 2 until end of turn. So this will be the only time I read Rampage because I don't like Rampage, and I'm never going to read it again, so just deal with it. Rampage is whenever this creature becomes blocked, it gets plus until end of turn for each creature blocking beyond the first. The plus is always equal to its Rampage. So if it has Rampage 3, it would get +3/+3 for each creature blocking it beyond the first creature. So if it's a 6/6 and it's blocked by 5 different 1/1s, it will then get, and it has Rampage 3, it will get +12/+12. The trick with Rampage creatures is, well, they all are horrible, so you just Swords to Plowshares them, or you just block them with 1 creature. I mean, and just never let Rampage ever happen. Next up, remove enchantments. 1 white and instant. Return all enchantments you both own and control. All auras you own attached to permanents you control, and all auras you own attached to attacking creatures your opponent controls. Destroy all other enchantments you control, all other auras attached to permanents you control, and all other auras attached to attacking creatures your opponents control. That, I don't even know why you'd want to play that card. So we're just going to continue. Okay, Righteous Avengers. Here's your Planeswalk card. I got your Planeswalk card right here. Come over here. Okay, so 4 colorless and a white for a 3/1 human soldier, or Avengers, which is a much cooler name. And it has Planeswalk. There may be one more Planeswalk creature, but I can't remember. Next up is Seeker. Seeker is 2 colorless and 2 white. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't be blocked except for artifact creatures and or white creatures. So it's Intimidate. So Shield Wall. Instant. White and a colorless. Creatures you control get +0/+2 until end of turn. Not great. Next up is Spirit Link. For every point of damage target creature does, you gain 1 life. It's a enchantment aura for 1 white. Next up is Spiritual Sanctuary. 2 colorless, 2 white. Enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player controls a planes, he or she gains 1 whole life. Next up, Thunder Spirit. Colorless and 2 whites. It is a 2/2 flying first strike elemental spirit. So pretty good. I mean, right on curve. Next up, Thunderwolves. A 1/1 for 1 white with first strike. Then we go to Visions. 1 white. You may look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may choose to shuffle that library. It's missing Put Them Back in Any Order. It's missing playability. It has pretty art. I mean, that's some nice looking art, but you're never going to play that. So. And next up is Wall of Caltrops. A white and a colorless. It is a ow. I'm sorry, that's the flavor text. I got confused. It's a 2/1. Brian Snotty Art. Okay, Defender. this creature can attack. Whenever Wall of Caltrops blocks a creature, if at least one other wall creature is blocking that creature and no non-wall creatures are blocking that creature, Wall of Caltrops gains banding until end of turn. Wall of Caltrops goes into the garbage can until end of turn. Last white card, Wall of Light. 2 colorless, 1 white. It's a 1/5 protection from black wall. Take that, black. Okay, moving on to blue. First card, Acid Rain. 3 colorless and a white. Destroy all forests in play at sorcery speed. Take that, forest. Get out of here, forest. We hate you. We hate you and your green ways. Okay. Next up, Anti-Magic Aura. 2 colorless and a blue. Enchantment Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't be the target of spells and can't be enchanted by other auras. So kind of a weird hexy-proof, shroudy thing. Next up, Azul Drake. It is a 2/4 flying creature for 3 colorless and a blue. Has been reprinted many times. I like the 2/4 stats. So next up is Backfire. It's an enchantment aura for a blue. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to you, Backfire deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Complete waste of time. Boomerang, 2 blue, instant. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. A card too good to be in standard, so we never get it anymore because you can mana screw your opponent. It was removed right around original Ravnica block because with the Karu lands, you could just really get your opponent just by playing them basically. So that was really fun. I miss Boomerang. Okay, next up, Brain Hag. 2 colorless, 2 blue. Creature Hag. When Brain Hag dies, change the base power and toughness of all creatures that dealt damage to it this turn until 0/2. This effect lasts indefinitely. Yep. Next up, Devouring Deep. It is 2 colorless and a blue for a 1/2 creature. It has Island Walk. And it has a Shakespearean flavor text from The Tempest. Full fathom 5, thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. The flavor text is the most interesting part of that card. Moving on. Dreamcoat. Enchantment Aura for 1 blue. And 0. Enchanted creature becomes the color of your choices. Color or colors of your choice. Activate this ability only once each turn. And make it all 5 colors. 0. Boom. 0. All 5 colors. Boom. Every turn. All 5 colors. Boom. Okay. Elder Spawn. 4 colorless and 3 blue. It's a 6/6. It's a creature spawn. At the beginning of your upkeep, unless you sacrifice an island, sacrifice Elder Spawn and it deals 6 damage to you. Elder Spawn can't be blocked by red creatures. Elder Spawn can't be played in decks. Moving on. This is Enchantment Alteration. This is Gatherer going very slow. 1 moment. And we're back. Okay, Enchantment Alteration. 1 blue for an instant. Attach target aura attached to a creature or land to another permanent of that type. 1 little paragraph, 6 million words. 1 little paragraph, 6 million words. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Next up, Energy Tap. It is blue and it's a sorcery, and I'm going to punch Gatherer right in the face. I'm going to punch it in the face. Okay, Energy Tap. Target untapped creature you control becomes tapped. Add an amount of colorless mana to that target creature's casting cost to your mana pool. I don't understand why you would ever play that. Okay. Next up, Field of Dreams. Another really pretty artwork. Probably going to be a bad card. Blue for an Enchant World. Enchant Worlds are just... They were like kind of like legendary enchantments at the beginning of the game. They're not particularly strong. They work basically just like enchantments. I'd really like to click in to it though, so I'm going to try to load this up one more time. Okay, so Field of Dreams, 1 blue for a walled enchantment. Players play with their top cards of their libraries revealed. That was totally worth clicking into. Okay, Flash Counter, a blue and a colorless, counter target interrupt or instant spell. No, just say counter target instant spell. There are 1 casting cost ways to counter instant spells. So next up is Flash Flood. One moment. Okay, so Flash Flood is blue and instant. Choose 1. Destroy target red permanent, or if it's within your dithers, return target mountain to its owner's hand. Super duper. Next up, Force Spike, a blue, an instant. Target spell is countered unless its caster spends an additional 1. Blue instant, counter target spell unless its controller plays 1. Okay. Next up is Gaseous Form, 2 colorless and a blue. An enchantment aura. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by enchanted creature. Again, pretty decent art. This is the blue glyph. So blue instant. Put X glyph counters on target creature that target wall block this turn, where X is the power of that blocked creature. The creature gains this creature doesn't untap during your untap step if it has a glyph counter on it, and at the beginning of your upkeep, remove a glyph counter from this creature. It should also have, and put glyphs, all glyphs, in the garbage. Okay. Next up, In the Eye of Chaos, another enchant world for blue. 2 colorless and a blue. World enchantment. Whenever a player casts an instant spell, counter it unless that player pays X, where X is its converted mana cost. That's not bad. I mean, it's kind of clunky at 3 mana, but it's not bad. Next up is Invoke Prejudice for 4 blue. Enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell that doesn't share a color with the creature you control, counter that spell unless that player pays X, where X is its converted mana cost. Yeah, that's a lot of blue mana though, come on. Next up is Juxtapose. Gonna let it load. Okay, so now I've switched over to magiccards.info. I don't really care for it because it doesn't look quite as nice, but it is functioning correctly. So it wins. Okay, so Juxtapose, sorcery for 3 colorless and a blue. You and target player exchange control of the creature you control with the highest converted mana cost. Then exchange control of all artifacts the same way. If 2 or more permanents a player controls are tied for the highest cost, their controller chooses 1. So that's a lot to get, but I mean, I guess you would get 2 things, but they would get 2 things. Probably a pass. Okay, next up, Land Equilibrium. 2 colorless and a blue, a paragraph, or a nice little line. If an opponent who controls at least as many lands as you would put a land onto the battlefield, the player instead puts that land onto the battlefield and sacrifices a land. Not really all that great. Next up, Mana Drain, a card that is great. 2 blue for an instant counter target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, add X to your mana pool, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. Sign me up for a whole bowl of that, folks. That is an amazing card. So that would, of course, go into a powered cube. It is delightful. Okay, next up, Part Water. I am more than part water, folks. Most of you are. Okay, Part Water, a blue with 2 X's. X target creatures gain Island Walk until end of turn. They gain Island Walk for 1,000,000 mana. Okay. Next up, Psionic Entity. It's blue. It's 4 colorless. It's a 2/2 creature. It has tap. Psionic Entity deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and then 3 damage to itself. Not blue, not good, not playable. Moving on. Okay. Next up is Psychic Purge. Psychic Purge deals 1 damage to target creature or player for a blue, a whole blue. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Psychic Purge, that player loses 5 life. No, it's so... that's a weird effect. It reminds me of Guerrilla Tactics, and that is a little more appropriate for its color because that was red. But next up is Puppet Master, an enchanted creature for 3 blue. When a enchanted creature dies, return that card to its owner's hand. If that card is returned to its owner's hand this way, you may pay 3 blue. If you do, return Puppet Master to its owner's hand. So that's not good. Recall. Blue. 2 X's. Again, discard X cards and return a card from your graveyard to your hand for each card discarded this way. Exile or recall. No infinite loops for you, son. None of those. Next up is Relic Bind, a blue and 2 colorless. Enchant artifact and opponent's controls. Whenever enchanted artifact becomes tapped, choose 1. Relic Bind deals 1 damage to target player. Our target player gains 1 life. Remove Soul. Blue and a colorless. Counter target creature spell. I think I would probably put that or one of those effects in. Damn it. I cannot spell remove. Okay. Remove Soul. Okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's an effective design. Reset. Blue. Cast Reset only during an opponent's turn after his or her upkeep step. Untap all lands you control. That is useful in a High Tide deck, but I'm not gonna... I want to build a High Tide deck archetype into a cube. Does not interest me. Next up is Reverberation. It's an instant for 2 and 2 blue. All damage that would be dealt this turn by target sorcery spell is dealt to that spell's controller instead. Not great, because it's a sorcery and does not have a whole lot of impact in most of Magic. I mean, outside of Channel Fireball. So, Sea King's Blessing, a blue, 1 blue for an instant. Any number of target creatures becomes blue until end of turn. Okay. Segovian Leviathan. It is 4 colorless and a blue. A 3/3 Island Walk. It had some inappropriate or incorrect biblical texting on it. Okay, next up is Silhouette. A blue and a colorless. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn by spells or abilities that target it. Another Caja Foglio art. I like that happy little man. Okay. Next up is Spectral Cloak. 2 blue. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has Shroud as long as it's untapped. It can't be the target of spells or abilities. Target creature cannot be the target of instant sorceries, fast effects, or enchantments unless the creature is tapped. So I guess... I mean, it's not bad. It creates Shroud for a little bit of mana, but it's still an enchantment. So, Telekinesis. For 2 blue, tap target creature. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by that creature this turn. It doesn't untap during its controller's next 2 untap steps. That's not bad. I mean, it locks it down and it shuts it down. So, Teleport. 3 blue. Cast Teleport only during the Declare Attacker step. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. I declare attackers, I make my guy unblockable, I spend 1,000,000 mana to do it, and everybody's happy. Next up is Time Elemental. 2 colorless and a blue for a 0/2 creature. When Time Elemental attacks or blocks at the end of combat, sacrifice it and it deals 5 damage to you. Don't block or attack with it. It's a 0/2 anyway, so you're probably not attacking with it. So, and then for 2 blue, 2 colorless and a tap, return target permanent that isn't enchanted to its owner's hand. So it is reusable bounce, but there's better options. It was reprinted as a rare all the way till 5th edition. Heck, it's even one of the modern or the Masters editions. I can't tell which one. So, as a rare. Okay, Undertow. 2 colorless and a blue. Enchantment, creatures with Island Walk can be blocked as though they didn't have Island Walk. Also a very, very good album by the band Tool. Used to listen to it about 6 times a day. Okay, next up is Venerian Gold. 2 blue and an X. Enchant creature. When Venerian Gold enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature and put a number of sleep counters on it equal to the value of X as you cast Venerian Gold. Enchanted creature doesn't attack during its controller's untap step if it has a sleep counter on it. At the beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller, remove a sleep counter from that creature. That's a lot of work to tap one creature down, so probably not good. Wall of Vapor is a 4 colorless 1 blue for a 0/1 wall, and prevent all damage that would be dealt to Wall of Vapor by creatures it's blocking. So it's harder to kill, but I mean there's still decent removal even at this point of the game. Wall of Wonder, or the Wonder Wall, a card so good that those British guys, Oasis, they wrote a song about it. 2 blue, 2 colorless, a 1/5 wall, and then 2 colorless and a blue. Wall of Wonder gets +4, -4 until end of turn and can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So I guess that's something, but I mean, we're talking 8 mana to get an attack in, and then it becomes a 5/1 wall, so anything in the world can block it. So it's not that great. And then the last blue card is Zephyr Falcon. It is a 1/1 flying vigilance wall for a blue and a colorless. So yeah, that would be my entire powered cube, just 360 of those. Okay, Abomination. It's 3 colorless, 2 black for a 2/6 horror creature. And whenever Abomination blocks or becomes blocked by a green or white creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. So kind of like a death touchy thing, but only for white and black. Next up is All Hallows Eve. All Hallows. Hello, how are you doing? Okay, Hallows Eve. 2 colorless, 2 black. Exile All Hallows Eve with 2 Scream counters on it. Ooh! At the beginning of your upkeep, if All Hallows Eve is exiled with a Scream counter on it, remove a Scream counter from it. If there are no more Scream counters on it, put it onto your graveyard. Put it into your graveyard, and each player returns all creatures' cards from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. Oh man, it's only 1 less than Living End. So, next up is a Blight. 2 black, enchanted land. Enchant land. When enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy it. Or, here, let me put my land over here to the side that you put Blight on, and then I just won't use it until I need that 1 mana that one time. So, next up is Carrion Ants. 2 black, 2 colorless. 0/1, and then it has 1 mana. Carrion Ants gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Chains of Mephistopheles. It is a enchantment for 1 colorless and a black. I'm going to read the simplified version because the original printing actually will make my head explode. If a player would draw a card, except for the first one he or she draws in his or her drop step each turn, that player discards a card instead. If that player discards a card this way, he or she draws a card. If the player doesn't discard this way, he or she puts the top card of his or her library into the graveyard. This effect is cumulative. If there are 2 of these on the back, I'm not going to go any further. It's effective to keep people from drawing extra cards, like off of like a Howling Mine or something like that, but that's pretty close to the only use. So, next up is Cosmic Horror. For 3 colorless and 3 black, it is a 7/7 first strike creature, which is very weird for something that big and black. And at the beginning of your upkeep, destroy Cosmic Horror unless you pay 3 and 3 black. If Cosmic Horror is destroyed this way, it deals 7 damage to you. Definitely not playable. Next up, Cyclopean Mummy, a black and a colorless for a 2/1, and when Cyclopean Mummy dies, exile it. Not bad. Darkness, 1 black, prevent all combat damage will be dealt this turn. So a black fog, definitely not flavorful, definitely not a black ability anymore. Next up, Demonic Torment, 2 colorless and a black, enchant creature, enchanted creature can attack, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature. One good part about that is the Anson-Maddox art. Next up is Evil Eye of Orms by Gorm, a 3/6 creature for 4 colorless and a black. 9/9 creatures you control can't attack, and Evil Eye of Orms by Gorm can't be blocked except by walls. Only this is the one set with 1.5 billion walls in it. So, next up, Fallen Angel, the answer to Sarah, kind of. A 3/3 flying wall for 3 colorless and 2 black. Sacrifice a creature. Fallen Angel gets +2/+1 until end of turn. This is printed as a rare and uncommon up until 5th edition. Classic 6th, I think. Heck, it was even in 8th. So, they tried to make it work a long time. So. Next up is Ghost of the Damned. So it is 0/2 Spirit for 1 and 2 black. Target creature gets -1/-0 until end of turn. So I guess that would be pretty decent in like a limited environment. But the rest of the set would pretty much be garbage and limited, so don't play it. Okay, next up is Giant Slug. Giant Slug for 1 colorless and a black, and it's a 1/1. So, not that giant of a slug, folks. Okay. 5. At the beginning of your next upkeep, choose a basic land type. Giant Slug gains Landwalk of the chosen type until the end of that turn. So, not good. Okay. Glyph of Doom. Black. Choose target wall creature. And it's an instant, of course. At this turn's next end of combat, destroy all creatures that were blocked by that creature this turn. So I guess if you had a wall that could block more than 1 creature, it would still suck. Okay, Greed. 3 colorless and 1 black. Black, pay 2 life, draw a card. It's an enchantment, not bad, but again, there's better options for card drawing. Display Necro, really. Next up, Headless Horseman. Keeping in mind, this is Legends. This isn't the Dark or anything like that. Headless Horseman, 2 colorless and a black for a 2/2 vanilla creature. Again, the most interesting part about this card is the flavor text. The ghost rides forth to the scene of battle in nightly quest of his head. He sometimes passes along the hollow like a midnight blast. That's the only good part. And the art, of course, it's Quentin Hoover. Features a very sexy headless man on a very sexy headed horse. Okay. Next up is Hellswarm. Black instant. All creatures get -1/-0 until end of turn. Not great. Next up is Hell's Caretaker. A 1/1 creature for 3 colorless and a black. Tap. Sacrifice a creature. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. I do like reusable recursion, but that doesn't seem very strong. Next up is Hellfire. So for 2 colorless and 3 black, you destroy all non-black creatures. Hellfire deals X plus 3 damage to you, where X is the number of creatures that have died this way. So you get your way, but you pay the price. Next up is Horror of Horrors. 3 colorless, 2 black. For an enchantment, sacrifice a swamp. Regenerate target black creature. Yep. Next up is Imprison. It's an enchant creature or an aura for a black. Whenever a player activates an ability of enchanted creature with tap and its activation cost that isn't a mana ability, you may pay 1. If you do, counter that ability. If you don't, destroy Imprison. So, we're off to a great start. Whenever enchanted creature attacks or blocks, you may pay 1. If you do tap that creature, remove it from combat, and creatures it was blocking that had become blocked only by that creature this combat become unblocked if you don't destroy and prison. Lots of, like... I mean, it's only 1 mana, but come on. I mean, that's not good. Okay, Infernal Medusa, 3 colorless, 2 black for a 2/4 Gorgon. Whenever Infernal Medusa blocks a creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. Whenever Infernal Medusa becomes blocked by a non-wall creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. Next up, Jovial Evil. Yep, that's a card. 2 colorless and a black. Jovial Evil deals X damage to target opponent, or X is twice the number of white creature that player controls. I guess, I mean, if you're playing against a white weenie deck, that's not horrible, but... Next up, Lesser Werewolf. Again, this is Legends, this is not the Dart. So 3 colorless and a black for a 2/4 werewolf. Black. If Lesser Werewolf's power is 1 or more, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn and put a -0/-1 counter on target creature blocking or blocked by a Lesser Werewolf. Activate this ability only during the declare blocker step. Next up is Lost Souls. This stuck around for a while too, all the way to Classic 6. 2 black and a colorless for a 2/1 swamp block creature. Next up, Mold Demon. I have a Mold Demon in my refrigerator. Okay. 5 colorless, 2 black for a 6/6. When Mold Demon enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you sacrifice 2 swamps. Definitely not playable. I mean, it costs 7 mana already. Come on, guys. Okay. Nether Void. 3 colorless and a black. World Enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell counter, unless that player pays 3. Definitely fun, but I don't like it very much for cube. Yeah, that card, I played against that card against one particular opponent who used to play Necro back in the Necro Summer, the Necro Winter. And he would just bring in and out of the board and just screw everybody over. Pit Scorpion, 2 colorless and a black, a 1/1 Scorpion. Whenever Pit Scorpion deals damage to a player, that player gets a poison counter. A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. So that's the first poison card. Quagmire, 2 colorless and a black. Creatures with Swamp Walk can be blocked as though they didn't have Swamp Walk. Next up is Shimeon Night Stalker. So 3 colorless, 2 black for a 4/4 Night Stalker. Black and then tap. All damage that would be dealt to you this turn by a target attacking creature is dealt to Shimeon Night Stalker instead. Definitely not a black flavored card. That would be a white ability now, and even then it would be worthless. Next up, Spirit Shackle. 2 black, enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature becomes tapped, put a -0/-2 counter on it. Okay. Next up, Siphon Soul. 2 colorless and a black. Siphon Soul deals 2 damage to each other player. You gain life equal to the damage dealt that way. So target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I guess it's more useful in multiplayer, but multiplayer is not a format that I support. I'm just opposed to it. Okay, next up is Tackle the Maggots. So 2 colorless, 2 black, enchanted creature. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, put a -0/-1 counter on that creature. When enchanted creature dies, that creature's controller chooses a creature that Tackle Maggot could enchant. If he or she does, return Tackle Maggot to the battlefield under your control attached to that creature. If he or she doesn't, return Tackle Maggot to the battlefield under your control as a non-aura enchantment. Loses enchant creature and gains at the beginning of that player's upkeep. Tackle Maggot deals 1 damage to him or her. I remember trying to make that card work back in the day, and it's just not great. Next up is the Abyss. World enchantment, 3 colorless and a black. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, destroy target non-artifact creature that player controls of his or her choice. It can't be regenerated. Not bad. Next up is the Wretched. A very good 9-inch Null Song. Not a very good magic card. 3 colorless, 2 black, 2/5. At the end of combat, gain control of all creatures blocking the Wretched for as long as you control the Wretched. Next up, Touch of Darkness, 1 black. Any number of target creature become black until end of turn. Next up is Transmutation, sorry. Black and a colorless. Switch target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. That's not black anymore. Underworld Dreams, 3 black. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dream deals 1 damage to him or her. Very powerful at that point, not so much anymore. I mean, it's been reprinted and not seen play all the way up till Magic 2010. So, okay. Vampire Bats, 0/1 flying for black. And it has fire breathing. You can only activate it twice each turn. Next up, The Walking Dead. 1 black and a colorless for a 1/1 zombie. Black, regenerate target Walking Dead, or regenerate target. Regenerate Walking Dead. No target, Sam. Stop saying target, Sam. Okay. Next up, Wall of Putrid Flesh. A 2 for a wall for 2 black, or 2 colorless and a black. Defender. Protection from white. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to Wall of Putrid Flesh by enchanted creature. I love the art on that. That's just amazing. Okay. Next up, Wall of Shadow. 0 on wall for 1 colorless and 2 black. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Wall of Shadows by creatures it's blocking. And Wall of Shadows can't be the target of spells that target only walls or abilities that target only walls. All 3 of them. 5 of them total, really. But and the last black card is Wall of Tombstones. Tombstone Pizza is very good frozen pizza. Okay. 0/1 wall for a colorless and a black. Defender, this creature can attack. At the beginning of your upkeep, change Wall of Tombstone's base toughness to 1 plus the number of creature cards in your graveyard. This effect lasts indefinitely. Okay, that's it for black. Moving over to red. Oh, I feel like we barely scratched the surface at 1 hour and 2 minutes in, folks. It's gonna be a long one. Okay, Active Volcano. Red, instant. Choose 1. Destroy target blue permanent or return target island to its owner's hand. Backdraft is next. Instant. Red and a colorless. Choose a player who casts 1 or more spells this turn. Backlash deals damage to that player equal to half the damage dealt by 1 of those sorcery spells this turn, rounded down. It's fun art, like his shirt is laughing or something. Next up is Beasts of Bogardan, whatever. It's a 3/3 for 4 and a red. Protection from red. Beasts of Bogardan gains +1/+1 as long as an opponent controls a non-token white permanent. That's not bad. Blazing Effigy. When Blazing Effigy die, it's a 0/3 elemental creature for colorless and a red. When Blazing Effigy dies, it deals X damage to target creature, where X is 3 plus the amount of damage dealt to Blazing Effigy this turn by other sources named Blazing Effigy. What? If it dies and there are no creatures to target, then their ability does nothing is the only role. Okay. No thank you. Next up, Bloodlust. If target creature has toughness 5 or greater, it gets +4 -4 until end of turn. And otherwise it gets +4 -X until end of turn, where X is its toughness -1. So not it's not bad, but there's better options. Caverns of Despair, World Enchantment, for 2 colorless and 2 red. No more than 2 creatures can attack each combat. No more than 2 creatures can block each combat. Next up is Chain Lightning. I would put Chain Lightning in. I think I would. Okay. Chain Lightning deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Then that player or that creature's controller may pay red. If the player does, he or she may copy the spell and may choose a new target for that copy. So you can just bounce it around. The art should really be some Chain Lightning instead of just a Lightning Fork, but whatever. Next is Crevasse, or Crevice. 2 colorless and a red. Creatures with Mountain Walk can be blocked as though they didn't have Mountain Walk. I'm going to do that anyway. You can't stop me. Okay. Next up is Crimson Cobalts. 0/1 for 0. Color indicator red. So basically, they didn't think, even though it's a red card, because it has 0, they didn't think people would know this was a red card. This card is a red spell. When cast, and Cobalts are a red creature. So, next up is Crimson Manticore. Manticati. 2/2 flying creature for 2 and 2 red. Red and then tap. Crimson Manticore deals 1 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Very red, but very odd. Very oddly costed. Quickshank Cobbles. Again, it's a red spell. It's a 0/1 creature for 0. Next up, Disharmony. Instant 2 and a red. Cast Disharmony only during combat before blockers are declared. Untap target attacking creature or remove it from combat. Can control that creature until end of turn. I guess it lets you get an opponent's creature to block with. Red instant Dwarven Song. Any number of target creatures become red until end of turn. Eternal Warrior. Interesting comic book at one point. Name Eternal Warrior. It was a Valiant comic. Enchantment Aura for a red. Enchanted creature has Vigilance. Red is no longer Vigilance. It would have First Strike or Trample in red now. Haste. Falling Star, 2 red and 2 colorless and a red. Sorcery. This is another dexterity card. It must flip like a coin and not like a frisbee. Okay. Falling Star. Flip Falling Star onto the playing area from a height of at least 1 foot. Falling Star deals 3 damage to each creature it lands on. Tap all creatures dealt damage by Falling Star. If Falling Star doesn't turn over completely at least once during the flip, it has no effect. So flip it. Make sure it flips. Okay. Fent. Red instant. Tap all creatures blocking target attacking creature. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by this creature and each creature blocking it. Those are some goblins with bows, apparently. Next up, Firestorm Phoenix. A 3/2 flying Phoenix for 4 colorless and 2 red. If Firestorm Phoenix would die, return Firestorm Phoenix to its owner's hand instead. Until that player's next turn, that player plays with that card revealed in his or her hand and can't play it. This is too darn expensive. Next up, Frost Giant. Speaking of too darn expensive, it's a 4/4 creature for 3 red and 3 colorless, and it has Rampage 2. Not good. Giant Strength is an enchantment for 2 red. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. And I've never been able to really figure out. It's like getting ran over by a spiky train, is what it looks like. Next up is Glyph of Destruction, the red glyph. Red instant. Target blocking wall you control gets +10/+0 until end of combat. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. Destroy it at the beginning of the next end step. So you blow your wall up to deal damage or whatever. It's not good. Gravity Spear. World enchantment. 2 colorless and a red. All creatures lose flying. Okay. Hyperion Blacksmith. It's a colorless and 2 red. Human Artificer. It's a 2/2. Tap. You may tap or untap target artifact an opponent controls. Of course, it's an opponent, so you don't get to do any broken shenanigans with your own stuff. Next up is Immolation. Red enchantment creature, aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/-2. Next up, Cobalt Drill Sergeant for a red and a colorless. And other kobold creatures you control get +0, +1, and have trample. So excellent. So they'd be 0/3 trample creatures. Perfect. Next up is Kobold Overlord. First strike. Either kobold creatures you control have first strike. So now there is 0/3 if you have all of them in play. 0/3 first striking trample creatures. Kobold Taskmaster is other kobold creatures you control get +0, +1, or +1, +0. So now they're 1/3 trample first strike creatures. And then Kobolds of Carekeep are just another cycle, the 0/1, 0 casting cost red kobold. I mean, good God, just all that work just to get really a super minimal gain. So, rolled enchantment, 1 colorless, 2 red, discard a card. If the discarded card was a land card, land's edge deals 2 damage to target creature or target player. Any player may activate this ability. That immediately, it feels like that got reprinted as other red enchantments that didn't let every player do it. So next up, Mountain Yeti, 2 colorless, 2 red, a 3/3 mountain walk protection from white Yeti creature. So next up is Primordial Ooze, 1/1 creature for 1 red. It attacks each turn if able. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on a Primordial Ooze, then pay X, where X is the number of counters on it. If you don't tap it, and it deals X damage to you. That's horrid. I mean, that's just not playable, and at least it wasn't uncommon. So, next up is Pyrotechnics. So Pyrotechnics is 4 colorless and a red, and it deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. That's not horrible. I mean, it's expensive. So, next up is Aquarium Trench Gnomes, a 1/1 creature for 3 colorless and a red, and tapped. If target planes is tapped for mana, it produces colorless mana instead of white mana, and it lasts indefinitely. Next up is Raging Bull. I could have been a contender. Okay, so 2/2 for 2 colorless and a red. Sometimes the Bulls win and sometimes the Bears win, but the Bulls have more fun. Anonymous. Okay, next up is Spinal Villain. Another awesome Anson Maddox art. A 1/2 beast for 2 colorless and a red, and it taps to destroy target blue creature. I guess take that blue. Next up is Stormworld, a world enchantment for 1 red. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Stormworld deals X damage to that player, where X is 4 minus the number of cards in his or her hand. I mean, yeah, it's not great. Next up is Tempest of Freet, 4th edition rare. Colorless and 3 red. Remove Tempest of Freet from your deck if you're not playing for ante. Perfect. That's every card that starts like that is just a powerhouse. Tap, sacrifice Tempest of Freet. Target opponent may pay 10 life. If that player doesn't, he or she reveals a card at random from his or her hand. Exchange ownership with a reveal card in Tempest of Freet. Put the reveal card into your hand and Tempest of Freet from anywhere into that player's graveyard. This change in the ownership is permanent, so it just lets you jack somebody's card. Next up is the Brute. This should be called the Hulk. A red and a colorless, enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +0, +1/+0, and then 3 red to regenerate. Okay. Wall of Dust is a 1/4 defender for 2 colorless and a red. Whenever a Wall of Dust blocks a creature, that creature doesn't attack during its controller's next turn. Wall of Earth is a 0/6 wall defender for a red and a colorless. Wall of Heat is a 2/6 defender for 2 colorless and a red. Wall of Opposition is a 0/6 wall for 3 colorless and 2 red, and it has 1. It has fire breathing. So, Winds of Change is red. Each player self-holds the cards from his or her hand into his or her library and then draws that many cards for a sorcery. That's not bad. Wrathy Berserkers is a 2 colorless, 3 red, 2/4 creature with Rampage 3. Again, I'm not going to read Rampage again. It's never going to happen. Just let it go. Next up is Iceling Leprechaun. It's the Leprechaun. Okay. 1/1 creature for green. Whenever Iceling Leprechaun blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, that creature becomes green. Wow. Powerhouse. Okay. I'm going to take a real quick break and come back and we'll talk about more horrible green cards. I'll be right back. Okay. Now that that need has been met, we will continue on. Arobria. World Enchantment. Creatures can't attack unless unless that player casts a spell or put a non-token permanent onto the battlefield during his or her last turn. I mean, that's a pretty interesting ability, but I don't really know how useful it is. Next up is Avoid Fate. Green instant. Counter target instant or aura spell that targets a permanent you control. That's pretty unique. Green doesn't really get that anymore. It was time shifted in Time Spiral. So next up is Barbary Apes. It's a bear, 2/2 for green and a colorless. Apparently more flavorful than an actual bear. So next up is Cat Warriors, 2 green and a colorless for a 2/2 for a SWAT creature. Reprinted all the way to Classic 6th edition. Green doesn't do very much. Next up, Cocoon, green aura enchantment. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during your untap step if Cocoon has a Poopa counter on it. When Cocoon enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature and put 3 Poopa counters on it. And at the beginning of your upkeep, remove a Poopa counter from Cocoon. If you can't sacrifice it and put a 1/1 counter on enchanted creature, and the creature gains flying. And that, oh my god, okay. Gradient Crossroads, World Enchantment. All creatures have haste for 1 green. Craw Giant. It's a 6/4 for 3 colorless and 4 green, and it has Rampage 2, and Trample. And I'm not reading Rampage. Get over it. Deadfall. Enchantment. 2 colorless and a green. Creatures with Forest Walk can be blocked as though they don't have Forest Walk. All 4 of them. Dirkwood Boars, vanilla creature again, 4/4 for 4 and a green. Again, the most interesting thing about this is the biblical quote on it, flavor text on it. And the unclean spirits went out, and they entered the swine, and the herd ran violently. They ran off the cliff. Good for the herd. Elvish Riders, 3/3. For 3 and 2 green. Elvish Riders can't be blocked except by walls and or creatures with flying. Emerald Dragonfly, a green and a colorless, a 1/1 flying, and then 2 green to give it first strike until end of turn. Quentin Hoover art, very beautiful. I like that Dragonfly art quite a bit. Eureka! Okay, so Eureka, 2 green, 2 colorless. Starting with you, each player may put a permanent card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Repeat this process until no one puts a card onto the battlefield. Okay, Fire Sprites. Green and a colorless, 1/1 flying, green tap to add 1 red mana to your mana pool. Floral Spasm. It's a 2/2 creature elemental for 3 and a green. Whenever Floral Spasm attacks and isn't blocked, you may destroy target artifact defending player controls. If you do, Floral Spasm assigns no combat damage this turn. Not good. Okay. Giant Turtle is a 2/4 for a 2 green and a colorless. And that's it. Wait, no. Giant Turtle can attack it if attacked during your last turn. Wow, I didn't even realize it had text. Oh, that's just not good. Okay. Glyph of Reincarnation. Class green and an instant. Cast Glyph of Reincarnation only after combat. Destroy all creatures that were blocked by a target wall this turn. It can be regenerated. For each creature that died this way, put a creature card from the graveyard of the player who controlled that creature the last time it became blocked by that wall onto the battlefield under its owner's control. This seems like a mess. Hornet Cobra. Hornet Cobra? Hornet, not horned. Okay, whatever. 2 green and a colorless for a 2/1 first striking creature. Ichneumon Demon? Druid. Sorry, Druid. Wow. I don't think that's a word. 2 green and a colorless for a 1/1 human druid. Whenever an opponent casts an instant spell other than the first instant spell that player casts each turn, the druid deals 4 damage to him or her. That's not bad. I mean, it definitely has that ability that if somebody's like really going off on you, but it's still a 1/1, so the first instance is probably going to kill it. So it's horrible. Moving on. Killer Bees, the Wu-Tang Clan. Okay. 0/1 flying insect for colorless and 2 green, and it has green. The bees get +1/+1 until end of turn. So, good times. Next up, Living Plane. 2 colorless, 2 green. Rolled enchantment. All lands are 1/1 creatures that are still lands. Master of the Hunt. 2 colorless, 2 green for a 2/2 creature. And then it has 2 colorless, 2 green. Put a 1/1 wolf creature token named Wolves of the Hunt onto the battlefield. It has bands with other creatures named Wolves of the Hunt. Next up is Moss Monster. Vanilla creature, 3/6, 3 colorless and 2 green. That's it. Pixie Queen. It's a 1/1 flying fairy for 2 colorless and 2 green. And then it has 3 green tap. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Quentin Hoover. Again, very pretty art. It's not a very good card. Next up is Paradish Gypsies. It's a 1/1 human nomad for 2 colorless and a green. And it has 1 green tap. Target creature gets a -2, -0 until end of turn. Next up is Rabbit Wombat. 0/1 Vigilance. 2 colorless, 2 green. Rabbit Wombat gets +2/+2 for each aura enchanted attached to it. Okay. Radjan Spirit, 3/2 creature for 3 colorless and a green, and it has tap. Target creature loses flying until end of turn. Rebirth, another anti-card, so it's going to be amazing. 3 colorless, 3 green. Remove Rebirth from your deck before playing if you're not playing for ante. Each player may ante the top card of his or her library. If a player does, his or her life total becomes 20. But I guess you cast it and you can go, okay, I want to reset to 20, have an extra ante card. Okay, Reincarnation. An instant, colorless and 2 green. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, return a creature card from its owner's graveyard to the battlefield under the controller of that creature's owner. I guess it does let you like replace a creature that you have that's gonna die. So, next up is Revelation. Green rolled enchantment. Players play with their hands revealed. With the world enchantments, there can only be 1 in play at a time. So each time I play Revelation, and then you on your turn play Coordinate Crossroads, the Crossroads would vary the Revelation. Wait, no. Okay, yeah, that's how it would work. If 2 enter at the same time, then both of them get buried. So, next up is Rust. Green, instant. Counter target activated ability from an artifact source. Mana abilities can't be countered. Next up is Shulkin Brownie. A 1/1 Ophi for a colorless and a green. Tap. Target creature loses all bands with other abilities until end of turn, and then becomes a much happier card because it doesn't have bands anymore. Next up is Stormseeker. This became sudden impact. So it's an instant for 3 colorless and a green, and Storm Seeker deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards in that player's hands. Okay, next up is Subdue. One green for an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. The creature gets +0/+X until end of turn, where X is its converted mana cost. Next up is Sylvan Library. So definitely a card that would go into a Pirate Cube. I feel like it would probably even be a pretty decent thing to draft. Not that I would ever draft green in a Pirate Cube. I would be one of the fools at the table fighting over blue. So, it's an enchantment for a green and a colorless. At the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand that drawn this turn. For each of those cards, you pay 4 life or put the card on the top of your library. So, basically, you draw 3 cards, and then you can keep 2 extra cards, but you pay 4 life for each card you keep. Sylvan Paradise, green instant. Any number of target creatures become green until end of turn. It also features a naked lady. Typhoon, 2 colorless and a green. And Typhoon deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of islands that player controls. Not anywhere near compared to Riptide. I'm sorry, Riptide is a lot better. Next up, Untamed Wilds. Search your library for a basic land card and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So, I think an early precursor to like Rampant Growth. So, next up, Rolling Dervish. 1/1 human monk for 2 green. Pro black. So pretty cool. And at the beginning of each end step, if Rolling Dervish dealt damage to an opponent this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it rolls, it gets bigger, it dervishes, it gets bigger. Willow Satyr, a 1/1 creature for 2 colorless and 2 green, and you may choose to not untap it during your untap step, and you can tap to gain control of target legendary creature for as long as you control Willow Satyr, and Willow Satyr remains tapped. So that's pretty cool. Not good, but cool. Next up is Winter Blast, sorcery for green and X. Tap X target creatures, and Winter Blast deals 2 damage to each of those creatures with flying. Blow winds and crack your cheeks, rage, blow. William Shakespeare, Green Lear, most interesting part of that card. Next up is Wolverine Pact, 2/4 for 2 colorless and 2 green, as Rampage 2. Next up is Wood Elemental. It's a XX creature for 3 colorless and a green. As Wood Elemental enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of untapped forests. Wood Elemental power and toughness are equal to the number of forest sacrifices that enters the battlefield. So there were no walls in green, which is very strange. But it seems like, if I remember correctly, the last set that we did that wasn't revised was really heavy in green walls. Sorry, took a sip of water. So maybe they just thought they didn't have to print more green walls. I don't know. Okay, so now we're over to gold. So you'll notice most of these gold cards are pretty horrible, but we'll go ahead and read them. So first up, Aiden Oakenshield, and I think they're going to switch to basically to alphabetical from here, I believe. So all of these are legendary, so I'm not going to explain legendary. It's a human knight for black, red, green, or Jund. And then Jund to tap, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's not horrible. Next up is Angus Mackenzie, a 2/2 creature for Bant, and then Bant tap. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Activate this ability only before a combat damage step. Next up is Arcadis Sabbath, the first Elder Dragon cycle. 7/7, and then 2, and then double Bant. Flying at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Arcadis Sabbath unless you pay Bant. And when I say Bant, I should explain it's white, green, blue. So double band would be white, white, green, green, blue, blue. John, of course, is red, black, green, and then yeah, we've already said band. Um, and then it has white reverse fire breathing. So Arcadia Sabbath gets +0, +1 until end of turn, and each untapped creature you control gets +0, +2 as long as it's non-attacking. So I mean, it has a lot of abilities, but paying Bant at the beginning of each turn is just not something you want to do. And since it sacrifices, it doesn't tap it. I mean, it's not all that great. And next up is Axelrod Gunnarsson. Sets 4 colorless and black, black, red, red. Trample. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Axelrod Gunnarsson this turn dies, you gain 1 life, and Axelrod deals 1 damage to target player. Next up is Aisha Tanaka. So it's blue, blue, white, white. It's a 2/2 human artificer, and it has banding. And then tap, counter target activated ability from artifact source unless that player's controller plays white. Mana abilities can't be targeted. Okay. Next up, oh my god, so many cards. Barktooth Warbeard. It's a 6/5 legendary creature for 4 colorless, black, red, red. So it's a vanilla creature, and it costs 7, and it's not good. Next up is Bertle Runax, 6/5 giant warrior for 3, and then Jund has vigilance, and it can't be the target of aura spells. 6 mana, 6/5. That's not bad. Next up is Boris Devil Boon, Zombie Wizard Tutu, 3 black red, and then for 2 black red tap, put a 1/1 black and red demon creature token named Minor Demon onto the battlefield. So if you get that going a few times, you spent 4 mana to get 2 power and toughness onto the battlefield. And I don't know what you do at that point. Do you just cry? Do you drink like more whiskey and then sleep? I don't know. I don't know what you do, but I don't feel good myself. Next up is Chromium, flying, Rampage 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Chromium unless you pay white, blue, black. So it's Esper. Next up is Dakin Black Blade, Human Warrior. It's an XX for 2 colorless, black, blue, blue, white. So again, it's Esper. And then Dakin Black Blade's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. So that's not bad. I mean, I've always liked Dakin. Richard Kane Ferguson's art's really amazing as well. And next up is Gabriel Angelfire, 3 colorless, white, white, green, green, 4/4. Creature doesn't fly. At the beginning of your upkeep, oh yeah, that's right. You choose flying, first strike, trample, or Rampage 3. Gabriel Angelfire gains this ability until your next upkeep. So basically, every turn you'll skip flying. So, I mean, you skip flying and just attack. And next up is Ghosted Dirk, 4/4 human warrior for 3 white, white, blue, blue, 3 colors, white, white, blue, blue, first strike. And creatures with Island Walk can be blocked as though they didn't have Island Walk, just in case you needed that on a legendary card, not just on the card that does it already in the set. Next up is Gwendolyn D. Corky. It's a 3/5 human rogue for blue, black, black, red, and tap target creature discards a card at random, and you can only activate this ability during your turn. No doing that on their draw phase. Come on, be a sport. Next up is Halfdane, a 3/3 shapeshifter for white, blue, black, or Esper. At the beginning of your upkeep, change Halfdane's base power and toughness to the power and toughness of target creature other than Halfdane until the end of your next step. So it starts out as a 3/3 though. It's an XX there. That's odd. I guess it's always a 3/3. Yeah, when Halfdane comes into the battlefield, he's a 3/3. They should have just printed that, but whatever. Next up is Hazion Tamar, human warrior 2/4 for white, for 4 colorless, white, red, green. for Naya. When Hazion Tamar enters the battlefield, put X11 Sand Warrior tokens that are red, green, and white on the battlefield at the beginning of your next upkeep, where X is the number of lands you control at that time. And when Hazion leaves the battlefield, exile all Sand Warriors. Yep. Next up is Hunding Jorgensen. Okay. And it just has Rampage 1. It's a 5/4 for 3 white, blue, blue. Next up is Jacques Le Vert. It's a white, or 1 colorless, white, red, green. A 3/2, and green creatures you control get +0/+2. Next up is Jasmine Boreal. 4/5, vanilla creature for 3 white, green. Pretty nice art. Next up is Jedit Ojian, a 5/5 vanilla creature for 4 white, white, blue. So 7 mana for a 5/5. Okay. Next up is Gerard of the Closed Fist, legendary. Oh, sorry. Said I was going to say that. 6/5 human knight for 3 red, green, green. Vanilla. Next up is Johan, a human wizard, 5/4 for 3 white, red, green. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have Johan gain. Johan can't attack until end of combat. If you do, attacking doesn't cause creatures you control to tap if Johan is untapped. So you can kind of give vigilance in a very strange way. It's very odd. Next up is Casimir the Lone Wolf, a 5/3 human warrior for 4 white, blue. Vanilla. Next up is Kei Takanasha, 2/2 human cleric for 2 white, green. Tap, prevent the next 2 damage that will be dealt to target creature this turn. Oddly Japanese flavored, but a lot of these cards have been. And next up is Lady Caleria. It's a human archer for 3 it's a 3/6 human archer for 3 colorless, white, white, green, green. And tap, Lady Caleria deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature that had vigilance. It probably wouldn't be that bad, but it doesn't. And Lady Evangela, yeah, okay. And then it is a 1/2 human cleric for Esper, white, black, blue. And then for white, black, tap, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt by target creature this turn. That's not really a white or black ability, but okay. Lady Okra, another vanilla demon, 7/4 for 5 red, green. Very cool art on her. Next up is Livonia Ceylon. So 4/4 human warrior for 2 red, red, green, green. First strike, a legendary land walk, and we'll get to legendary lands. They're in the set, and then of course they're throughout Magic now. Lord Magnus is next. 4/3 first strike for 3 white, white, green. Creatures with Planeswalk can be blocked as they now have Planeswalk, and creatures with Forest Walk can be blocked as they have Forest Walk. Okay. Next up is Marholt, Eld's Dragon. So 4/6 Elf Warrior for 3 red, red, green, and with Rampage 1. Next up is Nebuchadnezzar, 3/3 Human Wizard for 3 blue, black. And then X tap, name a card. Opponent reveals X cards at random from his or her hand. Then that player discards all cards with the name revealed this way. Activate this ability only during your turn. But I mean, you're going to do that earliest at like the 6th turn. And they're going to have like 2 cards, and you're just going to be like whistling in the dark that you're going to hit it. Ugh, right? A card that has lived in infamy forever. Nicobolus, 7/7 Elder Dragon, 2 blue, blue, black, black, red, red. And it's flying, of course. You have to pay Grixis blue, black, red to keep it in each upkeep. And whenever Nicobolus deals damage to an opponent, that opponent discards his or her hand by far the strongest of the Elder Dragons in this set. Next up is Palladium Morris, 7/7 flying, 2 white white red red green green, flying trample. You have to play red green white on your upkeep. So probably the second, just because it's so simple. Pavel Malik is the next creature. 5/3 for 4 black red, and then black red. Pavel gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Next up is Princess Lucrezia, 5/4 human wizard for 3 blue blue black, and tap to add blue to your mana pool. Very strange. Ragnar is next, 2/2 for white blue green or Bant, and then green white blue, tap regenerate target creature. T-Man. Ramirez Di Proto P. Itiro. Only good part about this card is the art. It's amazing. He's a pirate, or he be a pirate. It's a 4/3 human pirate for 3 blue black black, and Ramirez is a most flamboyant pirate. Be careful not to believe his tall tales, especially when you ask his age, because he's 700 years old. Okay, Ramirez Overdark, 4/3 human assassin for 2 blue blue black black. Tap to destroy target enchanted creature. Next up is Rasputin Dreamweaver, human wizard, 4/1 for 4 blue white. It enters Rasputin enters the battlefield with 7 dream counters on it, and you remove a dream counter for Rasputin to add a colorless to your mana pool, or prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to Rasputin this turn. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if Rasputin started the turn untapped, put a dream counter on it, and Rasputin can't have more than 7 loyalty counters on it. So you never get to put extra dream counters on it. You never get to put extra dream counters on it. Next up is River Turnbull, human advisor, 5/7 for 5 blue black, and tap to add black to your mana pool. Next up is Roga of Kirkeep. It's a Cobalt. It's a 5/5. It's 2 black black red red. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay red red red. If you don't tap Rogar of Kirkeep and all creatures named Kobolds of Kirkeep, and then opponent gains control of them, because screw you, that's why. But all creatures you control named Kobolds of Kirkeep get +2/+2. So they're still just 3/5 first strike trample creatures at that point, and you spent 1,000,000 mana to get them there. So Rubina Soulsinger, 2/3 fairy with 2 white blue green, and you may choose not to untap Rubina during your untap step, and tap to gain control of target creature for as long as you control Rubina and she remains tapped. So, next up is Sir Chandelar of Eberine, 4/7 human knight for 4 white green. Not great. Next up is Serviti Scarzram, 6/4 human, for 5 blue green, or 5 blue black, so 7 mana for a 6/4. Next up is Solkanar the Swamp King, 5/5 demon for 2 blue black red, so Grixis, and then Swamp Walk. Whenever a player casts a black spell, you gain 1 life. Next up is Stang, a human warrior, 3/4 for 4 red green. And when Stang enters the battlefield, put a 3/4 red and green human warrior creature named Stang Twin onto the battlefield. When Stang leaves the battlefield, exiles that token. When that token leaves the battlefield, sacrifice Stang. They're twinsies. And twins can't survive on their own. See, you learned something. Twins have to have each other. Next up is Sun's Esten Falconeer, human shaman, 4/4 for 2 red green. Tap. Add 2 to your mana pool. Just add it. Just add it whenever you want, folks. Add it right now. Add it later. Whenever's good for you. Next up is Tetsuo Umezawa. And Tetsuo Umezawa can't be the target as aura spell. Pay blue, black, black, red, tap, destroy target tapped or blocking creature. That's not bad. Next up is the Lady of the Mountain, and she's a 5/5 giant for 4 red green, but that art is amazing. Richard Kane Ferguson, just pulling all the stops. Next up is Tobias Andranian, a 4/4 human advisor for 3 white blue. Next up is Tor Wayuki, a 3/3 human archer for 2 black, black, red, and tap. Tor Wayuki deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, some more range strike. Next up is Tortzen von Uris, a 5/5 human soldier for 3 white, green, green. How can you accuse me of evil? Though these deeds be unsavory, no one will argue. Good shall follow from them. Next up, that's exactly how I feel every time I go to Taco Bell. Next up is Tuckeneer Deathlock, a 2/2 flying human wizard for red, red, green, green. Red, green, tap. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It is literally a head. And it's like they painted the background and then inked the head on top of it. And the head is wearing a head of a Triceratops. So it's a head wearing a head. I don't know, man. Next up is Drago, a 4/4 elemental for 3 blue, blue, black, black. First strike. And then it has the creatures with swamp block. Can block as though they didn't have swamp block. I think this is our last Elder Dragon. It's Victus Asmodi, 7/7 for 2 black, black, red, red, green, green, or Jund. And of course you have to pay Jund at the beginning of your upkeep. It has flying, has black to gain +1/+0 until end of turn, red to gain +1/+0 until end of turn, or green to gain +1/+0 until end of turn. So it fire breeds on any of its colors. Next up is Azaria Arian. It's an insect wizard. I've always liked this art a whole bunch because it looks like an alien. It's a 1/2 insect wizard for black, red, green, and then black, red, green, tap. Target player draws a card. So that's not bad. So that's it for the legends. We're over to colorless now, artifacts. Seems like there shouldn't be artifacts in a set this big, but what the heck. First up, Ali Abra's Carpet, 5 to cast. 5 tap, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you by this turn by attacking creatures without flying, so you fly over it on the carpets. Next up is Alcor's Tomb, 4 to cast. 2 tap, target permanent you control becomes the color of your choice. That permanent became purple just then. Next up is Arena of the Ancients, 3 legendary creatures that untap during their controller's untap steps. And when Arena of the Ancient entered the battlefield, tap all legendary creatures. Okay, so the mana batteries, I'm just going to read the black one, and then I'll just let you know that they're part of the mana battery cycle. So they're artifacts for 4 mana, and you 2 and tap to put a charge counter on the battery, and then you can tap to remove any number of charge counters from the mana battery to add the color to your mana pool for each charge counter that you remove. So for the black one, 2 tap, put a charge counter on it, and then tap and remove all the charge counters you want. It was here as an uncommon, and then 4th edition as a rare, and thankfully never printed again. But there's the blue mana battery as well. Bronze Horse is a 4/4 trample for 7 mana, and as long as you control another creature, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Bronze Horse by spells that target it. Kind of an oddball ability. Forethought Amulet for 5 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Forethought Amulet unless you pay 3. If an instant or sorcery deals 3 or more damage to you, it deals 2 damage to you instead. That's not good, but the art's amazing. I like that a whole bunch. Gauntlets of Chaos, 5 mana, 5, sacrifice Gauntlets of Chaos. Exchange control of target artifact, creature, or land you control, and target permanent and opponent controls that shares one of those types with it. If those permanents are exchanged this way, destroy all Auras enchanted attached to them. Green Mana Battery, just another battery. Horn of Deafening, 4 to cast, 2 tap. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to a target creature this turn. Knowledge Vault, 4 mana to cast, 2 tap. Exile the top card of your library face down. 0, sacrifice Knowledge Vault. If you do, discard your hand, then put all cards exiled with Knowledge Vault into their owner's hand. When Knowledge Vault leaves the battlefield, put all cards exiled with Knowledge Vault into their owner's graveyard. I'm going to pay 2 and tap it. I'm going to disenchant it. Okay. That's the most likely outcome, folks. Okay, next up is Cry Shield. 2 to cast, 2 tap. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target creature you control. That creature gets +0/+X until end of turn, where X is converted mana cost. Life Chisel, 4. Sacrifice a creature. You gain life equal to this sacrifice creature's toughness. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. Not to like get ahead in combat. No, only during your upkeep. Next up is Life Matrix, 4. 4 tap. Put a matrix counter on a target creature, and that creature gains remove a matrix counter from this creature to regenerate this creature. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. Next up is Mana Matrix, 6 to cast. Instant enchantment spells cost you up to 2 less to cast, but it costs 6 to cast, so you're never casting it. Next up is Marble Priest, 3/3 cleric for 5. All walls able to block Marble Priest must do so, and prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Marble Priest by walls. Next up is Mirror Universe. Back at the point of the game where you'd be able to drop to 0 life without losing, Mirror Universe was a win condition. It's not anymore because you can't take yourself to 0, then activate Mirror Universe to exchange life totals with your opponent. But when you could, it was amazing. So 6 to cast. Tap. Sacrifice Mirror Universe. Exchange life totals with target opponent. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. So, alright. North Star. 4 to cast. 4 tap. For 1 spell this turn, you may spend mana as though or mana of any color to pay that spell's mana cost. Okay. Next up, Nova Pentacle. 4. 3 and tap. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, that damage is dealt to target creature of an opponent's choice instead. Next up is Planar Lure Gate, 6 to cast. Creature spells Creature spells you cast cost up to 2 less to cast. Red Mana Battery, Relic Barrier, 2 to cast. Tap to tap target creature. That's not bad. That was actually reprinted in 5th Dawn. Ring of Immortals. 5 to cast, 3 tap. Counter target instant or aura spell that targets a permanent you control. Next up is Sentinel, a 1/1 shapeshifter for 4 mana. And you pay 0. Change Sentinel's base toughness to 1 plus the power of target creature blocking or blocked by Sentinel. And that effect lasts indefinitely. Next up is Serpent Generator, 6 to cast, 4 tap. Put a 1/1 colorless snake artifact token onto the battlefield. It has whenever this creature deals damage to target player, that player gets a poison counter. Snakes. Why does it have to be snakes? Okay. Next up, Sword of Ages. Artifact, 6 to cast. It enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, sacrifice Sword of Ages and any number of creatures you control. Sword of Ages deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the total power of creatures you sacrifice this way. Then exile Sword of Ages in those creatures. That's horrible. Carrying on, Triassic Egg, 4 to cast. 3 tap, put a hatchling counter on Triassic Egg. Sacrifice Triassic Egg and choose one. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate this ability only if 2 or more hatchling counters are on Triassic Egg. Or return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if 2 or more counters are on Triassic Egg. Next up is Voodoo Doll. For 6, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a pin counter on the Voodoo Doll. At the beginning of your end step, if Voodoo Doll is untapped, destroy Voodoo Doll and it deals damage to you equal to the number of pen counters on it. and then XX tap. Voodoo Doll deals damage equal to the number of pin counters on it to the target creature or player. X is the number of pin counters on Voodoo Doll. That's a lot of damage, a lot of mana and time to deal like 2 damage to something. And then the white mana battery is the last artifact. So we're over to the remaining cards, the last 11 or so. And these are lands. First up is Adventurer's Guildhouse, land. And then green legendary creatures you control have bands with other legendary creatures. Cathedral of Sarah gives white legends the same effect. Hammerheim is a legendary land. Tap to add red mana to your mana pool, and tap, target creature loses all land walk abilities until end of turn. Caracas, very good card even now. Tap to add white to your mana pool, and tap to return target legendary creature to its owner's hand. Mountain Stronghold gives red legendary creatures banding. Pendlehaven, tap to add green, or tap target creature gets +1/+, or target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Seafarer's Quay gives blue legendary creatures banding. The Tabernacle of Pendrell. All creatures have, at the beginning of your upkeep, destroy this creature unless you pay 1. Very good. And Cube. I would probably put that in to give like low creature count control decks another tool. Okay. Next up is Tolaria. And Tolaria is kind of oddball. Tap to add blue, or tap target creature loses banding and all bands with others ability until end of turn. Activate this ability only during any upkeep step. Unholy Citadel gives black creatures banding. Urgborg is a legendary land. It's the last card in the set. Tap black, or tap target creature loses first strike and swamp walk until end of turn. And that's it. That's Legends. That was Legends and Revised. That was Legends and Revised in just under 2 hours. So, thank you for listening. I hope you had fun taking a jaunt down a set with a whole bunch of vanilla 7 casting cost creatures that have multiple mana in their casting cost. To review what we would add here: land tax, moat, mana drain, remove soul, chain lightning, Sylvian Library, and Tabernacle at Pendrell would be my adds into the powered cube. So not bad. And that's it. I want to thank everybody for listening. Comments, questions, concerns, leave them below in the comment section, and have a wonderful day.